Mr. Beast exposes the desperation of modern adults, ladies and gentlemen of the winning team. That is the topic of today, right? Because I feel like what I find fascinating about Mr. Beast, right, is I'm going to talk about this expo that he did, and people weren't very, well, we'll come to exactly the details of that in a second. A lot of adults had a lot to say. And I'm getting kind of a little bit sick and tired of hearing adult people highly critiquing these content creators that they wouldn't even have, that they didn't even respect 10 years ago, putting all their trust in them to somehow be their answer for their life's problems, and then hyper critiquing them if they don't get everything perfectly right. Because I think that's really unfair. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because it's a lesson for all of us in accountability. And it's a lesson, and it's also, I feel like, a time for us to maybe swallow a hard pill right now. So basically, what happened is Mr. Beast had this expo at Resorts World in Las Vegas, right? And essentially what it was is he was going to give out, I think, these goodie bags or whatever. And if you got one of the things about this expo is you're going to get these goodie bags, and in one of the goodie bags, there was going to be $10,000. Now, what I want to address here is the fact that whether we say it or not, this is why I think pride doesn't help anyone. This is what, and again, why I always say to you guys that for me, when people are like, how do you work with kids? I could never do it. I'm like, kids are far easier to work with than adults, because adults are just children, but with pride added. So at least with the kids, are they a bit aloof? Do they lose focus a little bit? Whatever, fine, I can deal with that. But pride becomes the problem, because then we can't address the underlying issue, which is what I'm about to talk about now with all this stuff. Because I'm kind of sick of people blaming. It's like when people blame these scam crypto coins. I'm like, bro, anybody who's ever done crypto or any type of stocks, trades, whatever's, you know that you're risking. It's all a risk. You know what I'm saying? So how are you a grown adult? It's like when that whole crypto zoo thing happened. I think that was freaking Logan Paul or whatever. And I'm seeing grown adults talking about, I put in 60K into this and I didn't get it back, doing all these interviews. I'm like, how sad and pathetic do you look right now? Because this is Logan Paul. But the underlying tone here is that we're desperate. The underlying thing here is that people are looking for answers. This is what I was thinking when I was watching Mr. Beast get the Mr. Beast games, and I'm seeing all these people coming in, and half the adults, they're like, oh, my kids used to watch, my kids told me about this. They didn't even know who Mr. Beast was themselves. But now that they heard money, now they're interested, which is again why I'm saying that people are not really smart. Whenever there's a new technology, it should be so obvious to everybody that hopping onto that technology when it first happens is always the smartest thing to do. Hence why I remember when Bitcoin first came out, this is years ago, right? And I remember the guy who was the CEO of the dance company that I was at, he was, I remember him telling us how he bought a Bitcoin, right? And he was like, I spent £1,000 on a Bitcoin. And he was like, to watch 10 years from now, this is going to make a lot of money, right? Or if not, I feel like this is at least an investment. You know what I mean? He was aware of the fact that it was an investment, but I'm sure he's minted now off that Bitcoin because of when he bought it, right? Which was when it was barely popular. Nevertheless, being aware yourself that this is a risk you're taking. And this is the problem I have with this hypercriticism of these content creators, right? Of what happened. So basically, people are saying they're upset because at this expo, they thought that Mr. Beast was going to be there and he wasn't. And essentially, there was some kind of like deal, some kind of like licensing deal, I guess, with the resort, that his stuff would be there. He would provide all the things, but he himself wasn't going to be there. And then people were excited and giddy because they were like jumping at the opportunity, because he said, oh, to try and rectify this, I'm going to give those people a tour of our offices, right? Why am I mentioning all these details? It's like people are so desperate now for an option or a way to make money or to survive and to succeed, right? And that's the underlying tone here. And my problem is that people are not willing to do the work that it takes. But then it'll be the same people who will play judge and jury. Mr. Beast works so hard for the money that he makes, and I respect him. He literally talks about how in his team, they plan out like per the seconds, what's going to happen in the first 3 seconds, what's going to happen in the first 5 seconds, what's going to happen in the first 10 seconds of the video. You see what I'm saying? They plan these things meticulously. right? And he's been doing this for 10 years. And I'm getting sick of people, and this is very much a human nature thing, like trying to find like this one thing that they can do after seeing somebody successful. And it's because people assume that when you're successful, you're just somehow lucky. This is my problem with this concept of luck in general. Like, people are not lucky. People are hardworking. It's the same thing I say like about the sidemen, for example. The sidemen have, whether you agree with it or not, I can say as a content creator, and it's quite funny again, couple of times I've helped people to start up content creating, right? And at first they think it's easy. They're like, oh, anybody can just upload a video and upload the videos or whatever and put on a camera and whatever. But then when I actually go to do it with them, and these are adults I'm talking about, not kids. These are adults. Because they're looking at me, they're like, of course you can do this. This is not going to take very long. Then they're wondering why it's taken all these hours just to put up one video, and why it's taken all of this, and why we had to think about the lighting here and how to get which tripod to get and all of this stuff. Right? And then the consistency element, because we all know that to even do these things well, obviously I'm an anomaly in all of this, as in like I'm not part of this because I'm not trying to be popular for the sake of it. So I'm not trying to do all the right things, but I know what the right things you're supposed to do are, if you know what I mean. People just think that that's easy. And this is, again, like, these adults clearly think, oh, if I could just meet Mr. Beast, or because we've seen him just randomly giving out money, or if I can go to his offices and just get a tour and just get a smell of the oxygen that he's breathing, maybe then that oxygen will help me to know how to make money. It's like we just are not willing to do the work. That's what I'm saying is the underlying tone, and why I keep coming at the adult population, because you can't keep looking at our lives. So I'm saying the pride isn't helping. It would help so much more for us all to just admit we've got a lot of things wrong, and a lot of us are in a bad position and we need help. And that's the problem I'm saying exists. Because people are looking always for some kind of quick way out, some kind of whatever. And the fact that people complain to the way that they do, it's the same way I look at all the people complaining about the crypto scams. You weren't scammed. You made a risk. You took a risk. That was your choice as an adult. And I find it so interesting how, again, it'll be the same adults who talk to us younger folks, right? Talking about, you're an adult, you're responsible, you're whatever. But then you'll sit there and complain that you went to do this, you invested in this random person's crypto coin, or you went to whatever and whatever happened. That's on you. It's the same thing with the Mr. Beast games. Do you know that in those contracts, this actually made me cry when I first heard it, right? Do you know that people signed in their contracts that they can't sue Jimmy at all, or something like that? They understood that it's possible that they could potentially die. D-I-E. Die. People were that desperate, right? And I don't blame Jimmy. And again, people be like, how could you put that in a contract, Jimmy? This is exactly why. Because the same people who want to profit off of you will be the same people tarnishing your name. The same people who won't put in the same work as you are the same people who want to just freely profit off of what you do. So of course he has to put a clause like that in there. Because look, what did we see? You've been on a TV program. He guaranteed everybody's getting at least $2,000. If you would join the show, everybody was getting paid $2,000 regardless. Even the winner was getting that $2,000 on top of his $10 million. Right? So everybody was going to get money anyway. You already knew this is a huge thing. There's 1,000 different people there. No one's ever done this show before. And once again, the jury of the sheeple wants to sit there and critique every little detail. Oh, this happened. Oh, the food was like this, or complain about that. Maybe some of these things, can I be really honest? Maybe some of these things are the reason why you're broke. It's something I've always found interesting about adults in general, is the ability to sit on the sidelines and critique others when you can't even do what those others do. It's like what you see with sports, right? Now, I'm not talking about when you get passionate and you get upset that your favorite team didn't win, or your favorite player had a bad day. I'm not talking about that. But I'm saying when you start critiquing to the extent as if you even have the ability to even do a crumb of what they're doing. I remember thinking about this while watching the World Cup and hearing everybody's opinions, and thinking so many people will be happy or complaining, whatever. I'm like, you go out there and you go and play football in front of literally the entire world. Like in the Olympics, you go out there and you go and compete in front of the entire world. It's like artists. You go and you get on stage and sing for 4 hours in front of 60,000 people. You put the work in to get there. You go and train and go and become, like, do you mean as a footballer, and you go and train to the extent that they do and have the self-discipline that they have to with their diets and their routines and everything and all the other sacrifices that they have to make in their life because they have to prioritize this. You go do the same thing. You go and make videos like how Mr. Beast does and be consistent and edit things meticulously. Because most people who started on YouTube or whoever has a platform, they didn't just start when they had all this free time. This is why I think people are so bitter. When they started, they were doing it around their job. I remember one of my favorite YouTubers, my favorite fitness YouTuber, Nutty Foodie Fitness, Stephanie, right? And again, she's somebody that people are like, oh, she's so lucky, but she trains hard. She's doing she's trying to do a sub 3 hour marathon now, but she did like 3 triathlons, right? And people will look at her life like, oh, wow, it's so cool that you get to do this, whatever. When she started her channel, because I remember she was working full time in London as a graphic designer, a normal office style job. So she talks about how she would edit on the train. She would edit when she could. Now she doesn't work there anymore because the content creating has, making her enough money. This is what I'm saying. People are not prepared to hear the lesson and humble themselves. This is where I feel like a lot of these adults need to just say, you know what? I thought that I didn't really have respect for this area of something and I clearly missed it. Can you please help me to understand how I can do this? Rather than just assuming that this is easy or feeling then entitled. Because again, Mr. Beast doesn't owe anyone nothing. He makes his own videos. He is generous. You guys know that I'm not necessarily a fan of him. Well, I'm not a fan of him. But I can at least, I respect his hustle. I respect what he does. He already gives so much to so many people. But as I always say, you cannot please the jury of the sheeple. But then when you become successful, all they have to say is luck. No, along the way, they have to also deal with your levels of criticism. Along the way, they have to keep going on in the face of everything. So imagine now he's having this issue. He didn't do anything illegal. It's a licensing thing that people do. I remember once upon a time, I went with an adult to an adult invited me to this. I was a teenager. It was somebody I was related to. So it's not weird. But anyway, to this Tony Robbins concert. Not concert, like similar thing. Tony Robbins, like expo kind of thing. Like come to this Tony Robbins, whatever. The truth is, Tony Robbins wasn't there. It is Tony Robbins, isn't it? The freaking motivational speaker. Anyways, Tony Robbins isn't there. And now in hindsight as an adult, I think it's obvious to me that why would he have been there if we only paid however much we paid for the tickets? But there were other people there that were motivational speakers, and there was information about what the other expos are like and where Tony's actually there. And there was like some of his merchandise and this, that, and the other. So there was still things of value. This is what I'm saying again with this whole Mr. Beast thing. And these people complaining about here again. And this is what I'm saying, guys. You see when I keep saying that people are not worth it? Like, because you actually can't win. You can actually never do enough. And people say you can't please everyone, but sometimes it's like you can't please anyone, to be honest with you. And then when the people that have what you want have it, instead of us humbling ourselves, we become bitter, we become hypocritical, and we accuse them of luck. Oh, you got lucky. Excuse me? Lucky? This is what I'm saying. So anyway, I just wanted to say that because it just kind of really bothered me how, again, he was having to, and you guys know, like I said, it's not like I'm even a fan of him, but I'm actually out here feeling bad. I'm like, this guy's actually giving people chances. This guy's actually giving so much, just giving. And yet our response to that is to be, he wasn't even there. You haven't even studied how these things work. That's your own business. Because as somebody else pointed out, there's nowhere that it said he was going to be there. Anyway. See what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's what I had to say really about that. I think it's just a lesson for us all. Let's learn to take accountability. That's what I'm saying. Because of the pride in the room, accountability and pride can't sit in the same room. If you see what I'm saying. You have to be able to you have to put your pride to the side and be able to say, you know what, maybe I need help with this. And I've seen it, like I said, just from the content creation aspect, but it applies in all areas of life. I'm helping people to do things, adults, whether it's I'm teaching them maths, because I've had to do that as well for people for their job roles, for adults, right? Whether it's they want to put their business online. When they're first asking me, they're thinking, oh, that little YouTube thing you do. When I'm getting them to do that, I'm having to put my teacher hat on and sit there for 4 hours while I watch them try to do something that they've never done before. And then they're exhausted. And I'm like, you've done one video. You upload one video a week. You upload one video every 2 weeks. And then when I try to give the advice, this is what I'm saying, this is why I can't stand adult, I prefer kids. When you try to give people the right advice, people don't want to listen. I'll say, I recommend simplifying your videos as much as possible if you want to start out. Don't try and start out with doing all the extreme edits and whatever, because it's going to make it a lot harder. Yeah, well, I really want to add in this edit, and I really want to add in this music, and I really want to add in this. I'm like, okay, this is how you do it. But you can do it. I don't recommend it. They do it anyway. Then they wonder why they don't have the time. I'm like, I told you not to do that, but you don't really listen. So I'm saying, sometimes our life situation, if we're not in a place where we can actually take accountability for ourselves and then be good students of life itself, when you meet the person that's in the place you want to be, maybe the thing we should do is listen. And also the other thing, maybe we shouldn't be hypercritical. And it's so funny, the thing about working with adults in any capacity where I've taught them anything, it's the change of respect that happens. At first, I'm just like that kid that's like trying to help them. And by the end of it, you can see that they talk, their whole demeanor and the way they speak and everything changes. Because they realize, oh no, she's actually really good at something that I actually don't know how to do. And she's actually having to be patient. And you can see the look of almost like a hint of shame in their eyes and in their demeanor as they're going through the process, realizing that I'm having to explain the same thing 20 times to them, just like I would a child. And you know, they will say to me, wow, you're so patient. I'm like, I know, because we all need patience. Child or adult. We all have something to learn. And we all are sometimes in a place where we need to humble ourselves in order to get to the next step. And so that's why this is frustrating me, this whole Mr. Beast thing. I'm like, these guys missed out. They missed out in so many ways what they could have gotten out of the thing. They could have made a video talking about how they went, how it was, how they had such a good time, and all the products that they got, and how they'll be selling them. They could have made some money. They could have shouted out. They could have made a video thanking Mr. Beast. Thank you so much, Mr. Beast, for da-da-da-da-da. It was sad I didn't get to see you, but I hope we will get to see you sometime. You know what I mean? Something smart that then sets themselves up for him to maybe want to do something. But instead, the world, and I'm blaming the adults for this, makes everyone who's trying to do something good, they make it harder. I think content creators and celebrities and athletes should all quit. I do. Because I think people have become too comfortable being hypercritical of people where they can't even do what that person does. It's the same reason I think all adults should sit the same exact exams that the kids are sitting. Because I guarantee you may not be complaining so much about the younger generation when you realize that you can't even do the exams that the younger generation is doing. And I know that because when I'm teaching these guys for their jobs, I'm not teaching them the high level maths that I like to do. I'm not even teaching them the highest level that the 16-year-olds are doing. I'm teaching them like the basic stuff that I would expect of an 11-year-old. And I'm having to have the same amount of patience, if not more, for these big jobs that they want to do. These big titles. And then they're even resisting the listening from me as if I'm not the one who can do. I'm like, I can do far harder than this on every single drug and the strongest fentanyl you ever had hanging upside down off the Burj Khalifa. And you want to be the person here sitting, not listening. I can go and get 11-year-olds who can smash through this. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't help. The pride, it doesn't help. The lack of accountability doesn't help. A lot of these adults, you know, they should have said, you know what, we didn't read the information properly. Same with these crypto whatevers. You know what, I did lose a lot of money. I should have known better than to trust to trust Logan Paul, of all people, based on his track record, for starters. And second of all, but it's my fault and I'm the one who's to blame. I'm to blame because I put myself here. Me, myself. That's what should be being said. But instead, we're pointing fingers. Accusing. And this is what I'm saying, guys. I'm saying these lessons. I know it's not nice what I'm saying, but I'm telling you, this is how winners win. Winners don't make excuses for like, oh, you know, I couldn't have done this, but it was just that. I couldn't do this, but this, that. Put the work in. Put in the work. If you fail this season, don't make an excuse. Don't be a sore loser. I hate sore losers. Don't say, oh, I would have won if it were not for this. I could have done this if not for that. And blaming somebody else, or the time of day, or the weather, or the whatever. Or the ref, you didn't like the ref was against you. Suck it up. Take accountability for what you need to do better. Come back. See what I'm saying? Suck it up, come back again. Being prideful and blaming others, you're not going to grow like that. You're not going to grow and you're not going to succeed. When you fail, when you realize you made a mistake, when you realize something went wrong, you have two options there. Is you point the fingers at somebody else and you continue go on being a dingbat, right? Or you take a moment, you go, okay, this is the thing I did wrong here. I won't do this again, but now I know better. Right? You go to the cryptocurrency thing, you say, Johnny, you know what? I waste all that money. Now I know better. I won't do that again. You go show up to the expo. Mr. Beast isn't there. I didn't read the thing. Next time when I book to do something, I'm going to try better. This is what I say to you guys about seasons when you're a winner. When every season, everybody plants their own seeds and everybody has a chance to prepare themselves. So right now, even the world we're living in today, in the moment we're in as a people, everybody right now is going, we're always in a chance where we have our time to plant the seeds that we want to plant. And then we'll reap those benefits. But how do you expect to have an orchard when you hadn't even planted the seeds when it was time to plant? How can you have some kind of, I don't know, what is an example I can think of? If you had some kind of, you notice that there's always, I don't know, trying to think of what animal eats what random thing. There's always, you know, I don't know, squirrels eating your whatever plants. Maybe there's something you need to do to protect the plants from being eaten the next season. Because it just gets to a point where, this is why I think people take so long to learn, because people will really do the same thing wrong like 100 times. And then after the fact, it'll take 100 times to bash that message into people's brains. Like I said, this is what I noticed as a teacher. I'm sure this is how I believe God looks at us. He's like, I've told you this the first time, and we do it again. He's like, I told you guys, follow me, love me with all your heart, trust me. We go and think for ourselves. We go and try to do things for ourselves. Then we run back to him. God, what did we do? I'm telling you to do this. We then partially listen. We kind of listen. Then we go back and do our own things. We wonder why things went downhill. We run back. This is what happens. It's the same thing with teaching maths with people. And I'm like, at the end, what they end up doing is the first thing that I said ends up working, but we have to try all the other ways. And like I said, at least with kids, when they see that's true, they will trust you from that point forward. And it makes things a lot quicker and a lot easier. Adults, however, will start questioning everything. And it's like, who's the expert here? Who needs who in this situation? So maybe we should think about how we conduct ourselves with the people that we're hoping to get help from. And that's what I'm saying about like this whole Mr. Beast thing. Mr. Beast does a lot of things. Being at his event, potentially creating good content, making a big deal out of it or whatever, could have worked out in your favor. Maybe he would have seen your content. Maybe he would have been throwing you some advice for how you did in the video and commented. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like there was so many things that they could have made out of that experience, like selling the stuff that they got, because if it's almost like the last of whatever old seasons or something, like stuff, products they were getting or something. Thinking, so those items could be considered limited edition items. They could go on to sell some of those things. They could go and make a whole bunch of different content, doing unboxings. They could probably say this is what I'm saying. This is why people really need to learn in this life. Let's say there's 10 items in those gift bags, right? Let's say everything else was the same as it was, right? They paid whatever they paid. I think their money at least covered the stay. I don't know, the money at least covered the stay of the hotel or something. I can't remember. Let's say they get 10 items, right? They can take those 10 items and do you know how much content they could have made? That would have been the smartest thing to do. Hop onto TikTok. I'm getting ready to go to the Mr. Beast such and such and whatever. On the way to TikTok, what I eat on the way to do all those different videos. Packing what's in my bag to go to Mr. Beast, saying the name Mr. Beast, putting all the hashtags in as much as possible. Then vlogging everything that's happening while they're there. Collaborating amongst each other. Right? And if they'd all come together and said, let's all make content and let's all share the content together and let's all link each other and then let's all watch each other's content and let's all comment on each other's content and all boost each other's engagement, they could have then also gone and made videos of what they each got, how many items that they got, and then do reviews of each of those items as separate videos. That's like, just alone of what I've just said is about like at least 30 videos. Now, if they were smart enough to do that as it was happening, as it just happened, and to be the first to do it and make a big kerfuffle about it and get all of those videos out in the space of like a week, there's a high probability they would have got a decent level of views already on somewhere like TikTok, and they could have started themselves on a journey of content creation. You know what I'm saying? Just making stuff. That would have been smart. That would have been smarter. And if they did it as a group, everybody that was there, this is what I'm saying, guys. I'm always team oriented because think about it. Say there's even just 10 of them or 20 of them. That's immediately 20 people that are each going to follow each other. Immediately 20 comments or 19 other comments on every single one of their videos and all the traction. And then people love a storyline. So if they become friends and whatever with someone or so-and-so and so-and-so, if they want to be like how the world does and fake something like meeting the man of my dreams at the Mr. Beast Expo, people get invested in the storyline. You know what I mean? Online, because people love a storyline. And then you can just capitalize off of it. You know, make a video like, I can't say who it was, but I may or may not have met the man of my dreams at the Mr. Beast Expo. People eat that stuff up. That's what I'm saying, but people are not thinking. They're just here complaining. Not taking advantage. Or even make a video to talk about how what I wish I'd known before I went to the Mr. Beast Expo. And then just say, read, before you go to things, guys, read the thing properly. And make sure you understand what you're getting yourself into. Because had I known this, maybe I wouldn't have gone, but I'm still glad that I went anyway. You guys get what I'm trying to say here, right? I'm always just trying to say, like, life will give you, life is like a game, as I always say, and you never know what pieces you're going to be given. But what you can do is use the pieces you are given wisely. You're at an event that Mr. Beast did, there's whatever happening around it, right? Put yourself somehow in the center of the situation. Take advantage. See what I'm saying? They could have made some money through that. They could have started their own platform. And then instead of wanting a 10,000 from Mr. Beast or complaining that he wasn't physically there or whatever, they could capitalize off of that for their own thing. And build their own platform. And have them maybe make their own money. But people are so obsessed and desperate for money and prideful that I feel like rather than taking a good look at ourselves, being honest about our situation and recognizing maybe there's choices in our lives we need to do differently. Maybe the path that I'm currently on isn't the greatest path if this is where how desperate I am. You know, there's certain times in life where when you see certain behaviors from yourself, it should really make you feel like you need to stop and just take stock for a second. Like, maybe I need this, maybe there's something that needs to shift in my life. Because if I'm this upset and I'm reacting like this, because why am I this desperate to be here? What other options in my life? What other things can I change? You know what I'm saying? Because I hate to be the one to say it, but it is quite pathetic. I do think it's pathetic how much I'm seeing the adult population running desperately to try and get money from get rich through these influencers. It goes back to what I said to you guys about us being in the game of life and us having choices in our own lives. Maybe that's your choice. Maybe while you're talking about our generation and how we don't like to work for this and we demand this and that, maybe there's a reason why we do. Maybe because we're looking at you and your lives and you're still here desperate. And then this is the example you're also setting for your children. Because this is something else that I always notice that parents don't realize with their kids. And their kids are paying attention to everything. So they're paying attention to people on social media and they're paying attention to you. So sometimes parents will be like, oh, my kids are not listening. I'm trying to get them to do this schoolwork. I'm trying to get them to do that schoolwork. And I'm like, yeah, but they've seen where your schoolwork that you did brought you and they don't want to follow the same path as you. That's how I feel about the old generation. Like, if this is how the world became like this, then I don't want to get any of your information myself. This is why I understand the kids' temperament a lot of the time when it comes to not wanting to do work or their attitude to their education. Because as far as they're concerned, in the black and white of it is that a lot of the adults are the ones who are broke. These people may have rolled the dice doing social media, or maybe they didn't. But the heck, at least they have things that they can do. At least when they want to, they can go on travel and eat the things that they want to eat and go to the places they want to go and buy the things they want to buy. Meanwhile, at home, they're with you, who's putting pennies together just for them to have dinner. Well, not to say that they're not grateful. That's the other thing. But it's just to say, like, we've got to be realistic. That's what I'm saying. If you're really that desperate, sometimes I'm like, if I'm in this desperate about this or for whatever, maybe I really need to sit and take stock. You know what I mean? Maybe I need to make a change in my life. But you know what that requires? Accountability and humility. And that's the hard part. It requires going, maybe I wasted the decision I made 15 years ago wasn't the best decision. And so maybe I need to, even though I've spent all this 15 years doing the things this way, I need to change. It's hard, you guys. Humility and accountability isn't easy because, as I've said again, you got the jury of the sheep who's going to highly critique you anyway. So I get it. It's hard to put up with. Also, it's not nice to face yourself. With humans, we don't like to think of ourselves negatively. We always want to think of ourselves in a better way. But sometimes it just gets to a point where we have to be realistic. So anyways, you guys, that's all I have to say on that. I just wanted to comment because I feel like I get really frustrated hearing people make decisions to do something and then getting upset and like critiquing. And especially with these people, I'm like, you people missed an opportunity here. You were at some kind of event for Mr. Beast, not the typical type of thing. So it's something new that people have heard. So even just you making videos or something online with his name is going to attract some kind of an audience. Anyway, right? Find something that you can do. Literally, you can download TikTok for free, YouTube for free, all these editing apps for free. Make some content. Talk to the people. Do you guys remember? I don't know if anybody remembers this, but I found out about this the other day, that there was a time when there was a cruise that went on for like, I think it was like 180 days or something, went all the way around the world or something. And it became like a whole online like TV reality show basically, because everybody who was there was just TikToking it the whole time. And so people had favorite characters, favorite this, favorite that. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes, and I do think there's an element of this dynamic where a lot of people, and I hate to always be pointing fingers at the older people, the older generation, but it's the truth. A lot of people in the older generation are not willing to humble themselves and recognize that maybe we missed it with the social media thing. And can you guys actually help? That's why I respect the people that ask me. I'm not talking against them, by the way, because I'm like, I respect you guys for actually being like, I need help with this. Because this is, again, when we can work together as generations as opposed to being against each other. Because now everybody's running to YouTube. Now everybody's running to social media. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think that's a great thing. If you're doing something wholesome, if you're doing something good, if it's giving you a bit of extra income on the side of your job that's helping you to provide for the people, yourself and the people you care about, that's fantastic. We should encourage that, I feel like. I think that's awesome. I think it's great that we're in a time where people can have more control over the money they make, because I hate how historically somebody else, you've got like one person, you're one person's decision away from having money, being paid regularly, to having no money. You know? So anyway, I'm going to leave that there. If life's a game, let's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.